Support WrestleTalk!
Give us a subscribe.
Thank you for your support on Patreon, Kratos' forgotten son, Chris Petru. Hello and welcome to the WrestleTalk news. I am El Fakador Laurie Blake, and let's hop right back in where Ollie left off in yesterday's news, talking about Saudi Arabia. Because if you thought we could just start building to Survivor Series, have a pint and wait for all of this to blow over, you were sorely mistaken. So to quickly catch you up to speed on what's been happening, WWE had issues getting their personnel out of Riyadh after Crown Jewel on Thursday. Vince and his staff managed to leave, as did Brock, as did Hulk Hogan, Jimmy Hart and Ric Flair, who had a really odd-looking sleepover on their private flight. Meanwhile, the rest of the participants were stranded on the tarmac. A second charter eventually set off with roster members who had been advertised for SmackDown, but that didn't make the show in time. Now, WWE blamed mechanical faults with the aircraft, while some of the people left behind told a slightly different story on social media, saying that weirdly military police were around the plane. While other sources said the Saudi government had stopped the flight after WWE refused to start the stream of Crown Jewel on Saudi TV for almost an hour over money they were owed. Now, Forbes reached out to the company over these specific allegations, and funnily enough, they swiftly denied the reports, saying that the issues with the show going out on NBC Action Network were entirely unrelated, with Dave Meltzer also backing up that they'd said that it was a technical issue too, and that it was the Saudis who chose to delay the broadcast by 40 minutes, which is really lacking in the sort of details of the technical details department, because we don't know what the issue was. You could have at least sort of mumbled something, HDMI, SD cards. There was a SCART cable, the VHS player wasn't working. Naturally, all of this hoo-ha about the cluster F in the kingdom led many to speculate about what the atmosphere would be backstage at Raw last night. Well, let me tell you, because WrestleVotes on Twitter tweeted that the vibe backstage at Raw in Long Island right now is that of weariness, with the majority of the superstars still speaking about the events of the weekend, a source said. This is likely a topic that will be discussed behind the scenes for a very long time to come. And discussed it reportedly was, with many citing a meeting between talent relations and assembled stars to try and smooth things over. Just kidding, because it's all their fault that this got out of hand in the first place. Because according to Figure 4 Online, the company blamed talent, speculating as to what was happening while they were sat in an airport surrounded by military police for seemingly causing a problem. I don't see why that would be an issue. They also then reiterated that the flight issues were a mechanical failure and nothing more. Nothing at all. Don't look any deeper. Send Poirot home. The site then said that Seth Rollins attempted to do a rah-rah speech, telling people to keep things like this off social media in future, which is advice we should all follow. All of us. Oh, for God's sake! After the news came out, Seth tweeted, "And lastly, Dave Meltzer, you're at best a purveyor of misinformation, or at worst, an outright vindictive liar. I hope it's the former. Hashtag rah rah." I don't know about you, but I am really hoping Seth moves on to the taking pictures of his food social media phase sooner rather than later. Hard to be a social media heel when you're just tweeting about quinoa. Anyway, Meltzer expanded on the details of the meeting on Wrestling Observer Radio, saying that nobody on the WWE roster said anything. Basically, for the most part, they asked for questions and nobody had questions. Randy Orton apparently tried to make a joke, smell my hand, allegedly. Rusev actually did say something, but he didn't end up asking any questions, though he was probably wondering why they flew his wife out to Saudi Arabia so she could pretend she doesn't love him anymore and cheat on him in front of a crowd from a culture particularly down on infidelity. Thinking, you said we'd be in and out. Like Bobby Lashley. But it turns out that this deal isn't a quickie. This is Tantra, or BDSM at least, with a subtle spectre of violence looming over the whole thing. And this might come as a spank in the face to those stars who are mad about being left in Riyadh post-Crown Jewel, but WWE announced that they have expanded their deal with the kingdom. In a press release, the company said, following the historic Crown Jewel event in Riyadh, WWE and the Saudi General Entertainment Authority have expanded their live event partnership through 2027 to include a second annual large-scale event. Now, WWE has in fact already held 2 events in Saudi for the last 2 years, so this is the announcement of nothing. They had the combo of Crown Jewel and Greatest Royal Rumble in 2018 and Crown Jewel and Super Showdown this year. However, it's fair to say that the shows in Jeddah were held in a much larger stadium, so maybe that's the difference here. And obviously this 10-year deal was originally penned for just 1 show, so the second show was kind of a bonus. So this just formalizes that, and we can hope that they pay up front this time. Or maybe this is all just a bit of spin for the company because, as many have pointed out, WWE's deal with Saudi Arabia had already been set to run through to 2027 and was already including 2 shows. Vindictive stirrer Dave Meltzer said on Figure 4 Online that the timing of the announcement could be because WWE's stock prices declined over the uncertainty over the deal, and they needed to do something quickly to stop that rapid descent. Now they just need to work out how they're going to convince everyone to go back, and then convince the Saudis to let them leave again. Allegedly. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel if you liked the content and you haven't already. Head on over there to see what Ollie thought about Raw, which involved a bunch of folks from NXT, so color me interested. I've been El Fakador, and that was Lucha.